our nation's only historically black college and Hispanic serving institution with 3 military-based sites and 4 early college high schools. St. Phillips serves more than 13,000 students. Let's learn more about Dr. Williams Lawson by watching this video.
I am Dr. Edina Williams Lawson, a proud graduate of Alcorn State University. I attended Alcorn from 1970 to 1973, graduating in 3 years. I am honored to be inducted into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame in the area of education. My career now spans 45 years of service, and my ultimate goal is to receive the final judgment of saying, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Alcorn equipped me with the knowledge, skills, and mental tools to thrive and succeed on a national and international runway. Throughout my entire professional career, until I arrived here at St. Phillips College, every position I have held, I was either the first African American or the only African American in that position. While at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, I served as the Chief Education Officer. I was the highest ranking African American female in the agency. My responsibilities included standing up the education enterprise, rolling out the Educator Astronaut Program, and the NASA Explorer Schools. NASA had not had a teacher in space since Krista McAuliffe. My job was to identify outstanding teachers who ultimately became astronauts. I also served as the first African American female instructor at Arkansas State University. While at Georgia State University as an associate professor, I served as the first and only African American in that department. While at Santa Monica College in Santa Monica, California, I was the first African American instructional dean. In El Paso, I served as the first African American to head a campus. While at San Jacinto College South in Houston, Texas, I served as the first African American president in that district. And while at Houston Community College, I was the first and only African American that served as an instructional supervisor. It was not until I arrived here at St. Phillips College that I followed another African American. Growing up in the segregated South, I attended the Freedom Schools, and I traveled throughout the neighborhood as an assignment from my mother, getting other African Americans registered to vote. My mother believed in William Edward Barnhart Du Bois, that all 5 of her children would have a college degree. Daddy, my father, believed in Frederick Douglass and wanted all 5 of his children to have a skill or trade, something we could do with our hands. He wanted to ensure that all 5 of his children would forever remain economically independent. So I have the degree from Alcorn, and I'm a seamstress by trade. As president at St. Phillips College, an HBCU, and an HSI, I am now reaching my 15th year. The school has grown exponentially. We have increased our credit enrollment by 47%. We now enroll more than 13,000 credit students. We have 4 early college high schools. We serve 3 military bases. And in addition to that, we have more than 4,000 dual credit students taking courses at St. Phillips College. And in terms of the career pathways for students, we annually graduate more than 2,000 students. I stand on the shoulders of 2 iconic and prolific individuals. St. Phillips College enjoys a rich history and legacy of leadership. Our founding president, Artemisia Bowden, was named a saint, a holy woman, in 2015 by the Episcopal Church. She led the institution for 52 years. Our 8th president of St. Phillips College, Dr. Gloria Jackson, was the department chair at Alcorn State University when I attended Alcorn, and she became the 8th president of St. Phillips College. Truly, we have a rich history and legacy of African American women leading this institution. Whatever my assignment, I believe that if it passes through my hands, it must be appreciably better. Throughout my entire professional career, at every decision point, I have reflected upon my favorite book, my reference book, and specifically Esther 4, 13, and 14. To sum it up is, for such a time as this, you have come to this position. And so ultimately, in all of my decision points, I think about the fact that I was placed in this position for this time to make this critical decision point. The royal purple and gold is in my DNA. As Alcorn State University celebrates its sesquicentennial, 150 years of existence, we're also celebrating the renaissance of HBCUs as we're seeing an increased enrollment, somewhat attributed to the fact that we now have our own product, the product of an HBCU, sitting at the helm in the number 2 position of our free nation, and that is Kamala Harris as Vice President of the United States. I want to say thank you to Alcorn State University for this nomination. Thank you to the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame Foundation for accepting Alcorn's nomination and honoring me at this period in our history.
Here to formally induct our education honoree is Dr. Felicia Nave, President, Alcorn State University.
As president of Alcorn State University, the nation's first public HBCU land-grant institution, it gives me great pleasure to formally present our distinguished alumna, Dr. Edina Williams Lawson, for induction into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame, Class of 2021 in Education. As one of Alcorn's highest profile alumnae, Dr. Lawson is an extraordinary woman of many barrier-breaking firsts. In her remarkable academic career, she was the first and only Black female instructor, dean, and provost at several universities. In 1997, Lawson became the first Black president at Houston-based San Jacinto College until NASA recruited her to serve as Director of Education and Special Assistant of Special Orbital Projects. During her tenure, she was NASA's highest-ranking African-American female. Dr. Lawson now serves as the 14th president of St. Phillips College in San Antonio, Texas. She has received numerous awards during her accomplished career, including NASA's Outstanding Leadership Medal and Exceptional Achievement Medal, the Daisy Bates Education Advocacy Award from the NAACP, and the W.E.B. Du Bois Higher Education Award from the National Alliance of Black School Educators. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Edina Williams Lawson, a courageous trailblazer who has made a difference in the lives of so many.
Congratulations to Dr. Lawson. Reverend Dr. Kevin Muriel is our faith honoree. He serves as senior pastor of Cascade United Methodist Church and was named one of Emory University's 40 under 40. The SCLC women recognized his community and social activism by naming him the 2019 Drum Major for Justice Luminary Award recipient. Let's learn more about Dr. Muriel on this videotape.
Greetings. I would like to thank the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame Board for this honor, and I also want to congratulate all of my fellow inductees. In 2004, when I arrived on the campus of Jackson State University, I felt a part of something special. As a child, I grew up attending events at JSU, and I knew early that I wanted to join the legacy of many of my family members who had attended the university. Playing football for the Tigers and winning a SWAC championship, as well as building lifelong friendships, are among the greatest gifts given to me by Jackson State. Not to mention, I received a world-class education that prepared me for the rigors of life and leadership. The HBCU experience is indeed like none other. There is an expectation of excellence and a spirit of community unlike any other place on earth. I want to thank President Thomas Hudson for his continued and exceptional leadership, and to the faculty, staff, and leaders of Jackson State for continuing to challenge minds and change lives. To the alumni for your unwavering support of our beloved institution, thank you. And finally, I want to thank my family, especially my amazing wife, Ashley, for her continued support and encouragement. And to my Cascade Church family, thank you for loving me as your pastor and for supporting the vision of our ministry. I believe the best is still yet to come, and I am indeed grateful to my dear old college home, the I love, Jackson State University. Again, thank you for this honor.
Here to formally induct our faith honoree is Dr. Thomas Hudson, Jackson State University.
As president of Jackson State University, it gives me great pleasure to formally induct our highly recognized Reverend Dr. Kevin R. Muriel into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame class of 2021 in the category of faith. Reverend Muriel has been a stellar representative of Jackson State University, which is displayed in his acts of service and quality of character. On behalf of Jackson State University, I offer heartfelt congratulations to Reverend Dr. Kevin R. Muriel on this significant achievement.
Congratulations, Reverend Dr. Kevin Muriel. Our next inductee is retired Major General John Phillips. He is our government honoree. Retired Major General John Phillips is former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense in the Clinton administration. He was Vice President of Honeywell International and Vice President of the Home Depot Government Solutions Group, which he formed. He is now President of Phillips Aviation and Logistics Group. Let's learn more about this distinguished honoree.
Hello, I am Major General John Phillips, a graduate of Jarvis Christian College, and I wish to thank the Board of Directors of the National Black College Hall of Fame Foundation for this prestigious award. To be inducted into the class of 2021 honorees is truly one of the highlights of my career. I wish to offer a special thanks to my alma mater, Jarvis Christian College, and its distinguished president, Dr. Lester Newman, for its recognition and submission of my name. I have often referred to Jarvis as a small college of intellectual giants. The leadership and faculty continues to produce students that are nationally and internationally recognized. Jarvis prepared me academically and socially for the world I was about to encounter. As my parents were also Jarvis graduates, I have long recognized the place of HBCUs in America's society. HBCUs provide a whole person learning experience, developing the academic, the social, the moral, and leadership skills that are necessary to compete in a very challenging world. In my position as Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Logistics, I routinely worked with HBCUs to get them involved in the Department of Defense programs. I was never disappointed, and I will continue to champion HBCUs and assist them in penetrating Pentagon programs of record, not because they're HBCUs, but because they are highly qualified and grossly underrepresented. Again, I wish to thank Jarvis and the National Black College Hall of Fame Foundation for this prestigious award and recognition. I pledge to continue to work with HBCUs such that they become very active in the Department of Defense.
Here to formally induct retired General Phillips is Dr. Lester Newman, President, Jarvis Christian College.
Hello, as President and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, Administration, faculty, staff, and students, and alumni at Jarvis Christian College, it gives me great pleasure to formally present our distinguished alumnus and a member of the Jarvis Christian College Board of Trustees, the highly decorated retired Major General John F. Phillips, for induction into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame, class of 2021 in the category of government. Congratulations, we're very proud of you.
Congratulations, retired Major General John Phillips. Wherever you are this evening, let's give a round of applause to all of our honorees. But right now, we're going to pause to hear from our very talented poet laureate and dedicated supporter, Mr. Hank Stewart.
What are you giving me? What are you putting in my hand? What you're giving me has just altered, it has changed my plans. Why are you looking at me like that? There is this look in your eyes. Am I even qualified to accept this? Would there be a ceremony? Do I need cap and gown? Need I be baptized? I know you're tired. I know you deserve rest. How can I say no with all that you've poured into me, all that you've invested? I'll take it. Okay, I'll take the baton, I'll carry the torch. You've earned the right to relax, the right to sit on the porch. I accept the baton and all the responsibilities that it holds. I accept the challenge to stand tall and bold, to fight for justice, to stay on the wall. I'll do what needs to be done. Yes, I accept the call. And integrity will stand with me, even if we have to stand alone, to speak truth no matter who's wrong. You fought the good fight. You've completed your assignment. Pass me the baton. Our souls are in alignment. I'll sacrifice my body just like you. I'll stand or kneel against racism, sexism, discrimination, regardless of the hue. I'll get up early and I'll stay up late. And when it's my time to be tested, just like you, I won't take the bait. I accept the baton because it's my turn. I accept for all of our ancestors who were raped, beaten, those who were burned. I accept because before midnight, December the 31st, 1862, our ancestors were praying to God on their knees. I accept for all of our ancestors who were hung from those trees. I accept. Do you?
Our next honoree is Mrs. Dorothy Brown Cook, who is being inducted in the area of law. Mrs. Cook was elected clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Illinois in 2000 and was re-elected to 4 additional terms of office. She is the longest-serving clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County and the longest-serving African-American-wide Cook County executive elected office. Let's learn more about this talented honoree on this videotape.
Picked cotton and wild, graduated college, got your MBA, got your law degree, moved to Chicago, a non-machine politician.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Brown Cook, better known as Dorothy Rabb during my college days. I'm a proud graduate of Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I am proud and honored to be inducted into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. I was born to David and Dinky Rabb, and they were poor and uneducated, but they were strong believers in education to get you out of poverty. They sent all 8 of their children to Southern University. I came from humble beginnings, raised in a small town called Minden, Louisiana. Even picking and chopping cotton on a small family farm in Athens, Louisiana, to help ends meet. I started my high school career by integrating to White High School as a freshman, and I graduated from Webster High School, the black high school, over 50 years ago, learning my competitive skills on the girls' basketball team. Serving others is innate for me, and I learned early on from my father to fight for civil rights. I remember delivering water to the picket lines and marching for voting rights in 1965, holding my father's hand as James Farmer led the march down Main Street in our town, teaching me that, as Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, even in small town USA. I honed not only my academic, but my leadership and civil rights skills at Southern University. That's what attending an HBCU school does for you. It gave me a sense of self and pride. I became a leader while participating in the boycott of classes for better school funding. I came face to face with the Louisiana Army National Guard as I exited the school's administration building with 3 other girls. They trained their rifles on us as I led the girls to safety, but not before we witnessed the 2 unarmed students, Denver Smith and Leonard Brown, laying on the ground, dead from being shot by one of the National Guard, who never was charged. That experience solidified me as a civil rights activist. The title to my biography will be When Number One is Not Good Enough, because although I graduated number 1 in the College of Business and number 1 in the accounting department, not one major accounting firm made me a job offer. My skin was too dark, my afro was too kinky. I decided to not let them define me, so I accepted an offer from a utility company in Chicago and went on to become one of the youngest black CPAs in Illinois. I then got a job with the largest accounting firm in the world, Arthur Andersen, a job with a large national bank, and then helped one of the first black partners of Arthur Andersen to start an accounting firm, and became the general auditor of the 2nd largest mass transit system in the country. I obtained an MBA and a law degree, and then, as a Shirley Chisholm, unbought and unbossed independent Democrat, not controlled by the Chicago machine, I became the first African American in the history of Cook County, Illinois, to be elected clerk of the Circuit Court, the 2nd largest court system in the world, controlling a $100 million budget and 2,200 employees. A long way from the cotton fields of Louisiana.
It's just surreal.
That little girl from Louisiana became a political machine of her own and on her own. Elected 5 times as clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County.
Good morning.
Running one of the largest court systems in the world.
While serving as clerk of the Circuit Court, I not only revolutionized the office, I helped thousands of people to get a second chance at life through my one-of-a-kind full-service expungement summit. I made getting orders of protections easier for domestic violence victims and wrote many laws to help level the playing field for citizens. I retired after 20 years of dedicated service as clerk of the Circuit Court, and my plan now is to be a major consultant and to serve on boards of multinational corporations and help people with expungements. I say to other HBCU graduates, regardless of what your beginnings are, make the most of the God's minute that the late Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, former president of Morehouse College and a National Black College Hall of Famer, spoke of, who said, "I have only 1 minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it. It's up to me to use it Must give an account if I abuse it. I will suffer if I lose it. But it's just a tiny minute, but eternity is in it. God bless you, and thank you to the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame Foundation for this wonderful honor. Thank you.
Here to formally induct Mrs. Cook to the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame is Dr. Ray Belton, President, Southern University.
As president of the Southern University System, it gives me great pleasure to formally induct Dorothy Rabb Brown Cook into the National Alumni Hall of Fame class of 2021 in the category of law. This distinguished achievement is well deserved, as Mrs. Cook has been a consistent and positive figure in her profession. We are honored to be a part of her journey as her first higher education home. On behalf of the Jaguar Nation, we salute and congratulate you, Mrs. Cook, for this outstanding achievement.
Congratulations, Mrs. Dorothy Brown Cook. Dr. Alvin Blunt Jr. is our next honoree. Dr. Blunt is being inducted posthumously as our medicine honoree. Dr. Alvin Blunt Jr. was a successful surgeon and humanitarian. He earned his MD degree in 1947 and interned for a year at the Freedmen's Hospital, where he had the opportunity to work with the legendary Dr. Charles Drew, professor of surgery. Representing Dr. Blunt and accepting on behalf of the Blunt family is their son, Terrence Blunt.
Hello, my name is Terry Blunt, and I'm the oldest sibling of Dr. Alvin Blunt, the awardee tonight. And on behalf of my 6 other siblings and his only surviving sibling, my aunt, Mildred, we would like to thank you for bestowing this honor on our father. He was truly a remarkable man. We knew him only as Daddy, but he was a very, very special kind of dad. If he were here today, I'm sure he would reflect upon his youth and the values that his parents bestowed in him. I'm sure he would spend a lot of time talking about the A&T State University, A&T College, when he went there in 1939, and how he was exposed to the precept of achievement in every field of human endeavor. And somehow he drank the magic water there, and for the rest of his life, A&T was a part of his life. I'm sure he'd talk about his experience at Howard University, where he was exposed to the Dr. Charles Drew, and also one of his very, very close assistants, Dr. Samuel Bullock, who also instructed him in the art of surgery. I'm sure he'd talk about his experience at Kate Biddings Hospital in Winston-Salem and what that was like in helping him become a medical professional. I'm sure he would spend a little time on being in the military, particularly during the Korean War, and what it was like being engaged in a mass unit. And of course, when he came back home to Greensboro, North Carolina, I really don't think he would spend too much time on that. I think he would say, let my record speak for itself as it relates to Greensboro. But he would not hesitate to thank the men in the Greensboro Men's Club for the time that he fellowshipped with them, nor would he forget the men in the Beta Epsilon Boule, where he spent hours upon hours of intellectual exchange. And I'm sure he would close his remarks by thanking a very, very, very special person his wife of more than 50 years, Gwendolyn Harris, the brilliant lady from Eastern North Carolina. And so, on behalf of all of us, including the hundreds upon hundreds that my parents adopted and are now located throughout the United States and the free world, we just want to say thank you for this honor, and God bless.
Here to formally induct Dr. Blount is Mr. Harold Martin Sr., Chancellor, North Carolina A&T University.
As Chancellor of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, I am truly humbled to have the honor of formally inducting our distinguished alumnus, Dr. Alvin V Blount Jr., posthumously into the National Black College Hall of Fame, class of 2021, in the category of medicine. I had the great privilege of knowing Dr. Blount and can attest to his exceptional contributions to medicine, civil rights, and to society. A history-making doctor in the Korean War who led the first racially integrated mass unit as the Army's first Black chief surgeon, he was known for personally performing as many as 90 surgeries in 1 week. Yet as historic as Dr. Blount was, he faced segregation and discrimination when he returned to Greensboro, North Carolina after the war. He was one of 11 plaintiffs, doctors, dentists, and patients who successfully fought the Moses Cone Hospital's ban against allowing Black doctors to have privileges. They not only won their case, it became a critical support in the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, especially Title VI, which bars provision of federal funding to organizations that discriminate on the basis of race. He lived and practiced medicine as a distinguished surgeon here in Greensboro for many years. In 2016, at the age of 94, and as the last surviving member of the plaintiff group, a public apology from the hospital, which gave funds to establish scholarship endowment for minority medical students in the plaintiff's names, and erected a historical plaque for all to see near the hospital. His life's work complete, Dr. Blount passed away 3 months later, leaving behind an extraordinary legacy. I'm among many who will never forget the incredible contributions of Dr. Alvin V Blount Jr.
Congratulations to the Blount family. Dr. Valerie Thomas is our science honoree this evening. From 1986 through 1990, Dr. Thomas served as project manager for the Space Physics Analysis Network, SPAN, NASA's first wide area network. During a period of reconfiguration, it grew from 100 computer nodes to a network directly connecting 2,700 computer nodes worldwide and became a major part of NASA's science networking. And today's internet. Can you imagine? Let's learn amazing scientists by watching her video.
I am Dr. Valerie L. Thomas, and I'm honored to be selected for inclusion in the 2021 class of inductees for the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. I am a 1964 graduate of Morgan State College with a degree in physics. I'm a retired NASA mathematician, a scientist, a seamstress, and an inventor. Growing up in the 1940s and 50s, the world was much different than it is today. There were no computers, no internet, no cell phones. During the early 50s, there were no TVs. And there were almost no cars in the community that I grew up in, especially in my neighborhood. Without the STEM resources available to students today, I focused my learning on observation, trial and error, and figuring things out. I grew up in a very interesting community. It was a new community developed for African Americans who were migrating from the South and attracted to Baltimore for the good paying war effort jobs during World War II and for returning vets when the war was over. My family moved to Cherry Hill, to the Cherry Hill Projects, when I was 3 years old. And we stayed there until my last year, the last part of my last year at Morgan State College. Growing up in Cherry Hill was a very good experience for young people. There was a lot of space, rolling hills, lots of grass, wild cherry trees, and a unique layout of the streets. Since there were no cars in the street, we did a lot of playing in the streets. My father was a returning vet. He got a job as an insurance agent and then at Social Security Administration. He went to school at night at Loyola College and got a degree in business administration. My father had two hobbies. One was photography and the other one was electronics. And I observed him when he was working on each of those hobbies. Around age 3 or 4, while he was processing his photographs, I was observing him, and during that time, photograph processing involved chemicals, and he also had made an enlarger. While I was watching him using his enlarger, unwillingly, I was being introduced to optics. When TVs were available for the home, he worked on the TV, and I observed him as he worked on our TV. And looking inside, I noticed there were mechanical parts. And I became curious. How did mechanical parts inside the TV result in a video on the screen? That was my first introduction to electronics. I was hoping my father would help me make some electronic projects that were in books that I had borrowed from the library. Now, I never really asked him for help, and he did not indicate any interest in helping me. Now, I never asked him for help. I sort of assumed he would notice that I was interested. But I think my father's perspective was that electronics was not for girls, that I should be sewing and doing hair like my mother did. Now, I did those things, but I was still interested in electronics. I was hoping, or I should say, I was expecting that electronic classes would be available when I got to junior high school or when I got to senior high school. Well, that didn't happen either. When I was in senior high school and I was taking physics, one day the teacher walked in and she surprised the class by having a pop verbal physics quiz. Now, when she asked me the physics question, I was able to answer it correctly, much to my surprise, because I had not reviewed any of my notes from any of my previous classes. As a result of that, physics replaced my interest in electronics because it addressed my what makes things tick question. Now, in terms of mathematics, while I was in high school, my highest level of math was geometry. But I could have taken my highest level of math was geometry in my curriculum. I could have taken advanced math courses as electives. Even though I was very good in math since elementary school, I did not know how important it was to take as much math as I could. So I chose to take sewing and art classes as my electives. When I got to Morgan, it was a very interesting experience for me. First of all, it was co-ed. I had gone to an all-girls high school. It was affordable. It was local. And it had reasonable sized classes. approachable staff, and a very positive environment. However, I had math challenges with the required calculus and trigonometry classes. I had never heard of either of them, and that was because I didn't take advanced math classes in high school. That issue was resolved by me taking a class in calculus, and the head of the physics department explained trigonometry to me in about 20 minutes. After mastering calculus and trigonometry, I took a class called Abstract Algebra. That was the first time that class had been offered at Morgan, and it required permission from the head of the department to even take the class. I took that class, and then I took the follow-up class, and I think taking that class was why NASA hired me. I started work at NASA 1 week after graduation. I was hired as a NASA mathematician/data analyst, and my job was to write programs for computers. Since I had not seen a computer before in my life, except in science fiction movies, I decided to learn everything I could about computers, inside and out. And I did that through hands-on experience, graduate school, and seminars. And during that time, people who worked on computers, writing programs for computers, were either mathematicians, scientists, or engineers. Now, after I mastered computer science, I played leading roles. I had leadership responsibilities for a variety of NASA projects, developing quick look processors for the Orbiting Geophysical Observatory, OGO scientists, managing the development of Landsat digital products, leading the NASA guided team for the Large Area Crop Inventory Experiment, LACY, managing the Space Physics Analysis Network, and the creation of the Menard University Space Interdisciplinary Network. I had first-hand knowledge about how important it was to take as much math as possible, understanding mathematics, and hands-on experience. I shared my knowledge with the youth by speaking to them at schools and other meetings, serving as a mentor for NASA summer interns, and serving as president of nonprofit STEM organizations, the National Technical Association, NTA, Science, Mathematics, Aerospace Research and Technology, SMART, and Shades of Blue. Many people who know me now know me as an inventor. I invented the illusion transmitter and got a patent for it in 1980. The significance of the illusion transmitter is that it produces images that look like 3D, but it's not necessary to have special glasses to view the images that look like 3D.
Here to formally induct Dr. Thomas as our science honoree is Dr. David Wilson, President, Morgan State University.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Wilson, President of Morgan State University. I send congratulations this evening to Dr. Valerie Thomas on the occasion of her being inducted into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. Dr. Thomas is a proud alum of Morgan State University. She came here in the 1960s and majored in physics, one of only 2 female students at Morgan to major in physics. Dr. Thomas had an amazing tenure as a student here at Morgan. She went on from here to NASA, where she was responsible there for a major invention that was a part of Landsat that actually she won a patent for. and that invention was responsible for sending some of the first images from space to Earth. Dr. Thomas has been very interested in engineering and physics and science since she was a young girl growing up here in the Baltimore area. Even in her retirement, she has remained true to ensuring that young black girls understand that they can be extraordinarily successful as inventors, as innovators in the STEM space. And so she still spends her time around the Baltimore area cultivating the talent of these young girls. Dr. Thomas, on behalf of your entire Morgan State University family, spread all over the globe, we are so enormously proud of you. Congratulations on a well-deserved recognition. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Thomas. Hasn't this been an exciting evening? We're going to hear more inductees shortly. Now, we want to pay tribute to a sponsor who has been supportive of the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame since its inception, Georgia Pacific. Let's take a look at their video.
Georgia Pacific invests in organizations that seek to break down barriers to education, ensure equal justice, address persistent poverty, and promote understanding between people of different races, backgrounds, and perspectives. Our vision of a just society where everyone has an opportunity to reach their full potential is at the heart of our people and our work.